So, obviously, Governor Healy and Lieutenant Governor Driscoll came down to get a bird's eye view of Fall River today. They've been in the industrial park, down to Alexander's on Main Street, and they wanted to hear from some local business people about how they can improve services from the state, or what you need from them to try to help promote business here. They're both tremendous fans and supporters of Fall River, and they've been on the go all day, so they've heard enough from me, and I'm sure other people would like to have the opportunity to talk. So I thought Jim McKee was, who's going to moderate this?
I'll moderate here. We've got quite a few people here
I
today.
have one request, Jim. Obviously, because of the number of people, if you could try to keep your remarks around 2 or 3 minutes, that would be very fair to everyone here, because then it gives everybody the opportunity to talk. And if we get another round, we'll go back again, but we just don't want me or anyone else monopolizing the conversation, so they can have an opportunity to hear from everybody. And we're just asking that very respectfully, so thank you.
Thank you. So yeah, there's a lot of us here today. I don't know everybody around the table, but I'm Jim McKeag. I'm the South Coast Cluster Lead for the Transformative Development Initiative and Mass Development. And we'd love to hear from all of the businesses, today on this roundtable. Doing business in Fall River. I think the best use of our time is to just go around the table and start with an introduction. Where you're from, why doing business in Fall River has worked for you, and what you like about it. And I think going into a little discussion on some of the challenges that you're facing right now as a small business here, and how the state can help. So I think we'll start over here with you. Not with you, sir. Sorry. Yeah, sorry, you go.
My name is Frank Marconi. I'm with Cataboo Development. I've been in the city for 25 years. I grew up in East Boston. I came here 25 years ago. I had the Honeydew Donut franchises. I had other several retail and commercial properties that I developed. The reason I'm here, still here in Fall River, it is a great place to do business. The administration, especially today's administration, is tell us what you need, it can be done, we'll get out of your way and do what you have to do. Ladies, thank you, Madam Governor, Lieutenant Governor, first of all, thank you for coming here today. Paul, thank you for getting this together. I need to address the HDIP program. I think that is a very, very important program relative to development, as you know. But more importantly, I think it's duly more important that we're outside of 495. Everyone today has high building costs, labor costs, and what have you. But we're coupled with also lower rents. So if whatever you need to do to help us get some more funding for that program, that would be very, very beneficial for the area. I know, obviously, I read the Globe as well. Some of their editorials are screaming down the way that we're taking tax money that should go to, let's say, subsidized housing, but that is really not true, because as we develop the housing stock here, from what I've seen in the last 10, 15 years, we're making people more affluent and transforming our housing stock into something that quite frankly is rivaling anything inside 495. I had lunch the other day with an individual who has 4 or 5 restaurants in the North End, and he's been kidding me for years how terrible it is down here. But I brought him out here a couple of months ago, and he was absolutely amazed how far we've come. So that's my 2 minutes. But most importantly, thank you so much. I know what it means to make time in the schedule for these types of things. And I learned a long time ago, a working table is only as good as who's around that table. And we've got some neighbors here today. So, Mr. Mayor, thank you for getting this together. Madam Governor, Lieutenant Governor, thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks, Frank. And also, we should introduce a really important person, our Undersecretary of Economic Development, Ashley Stola, familiar to many of you, really is the engine making a lot of this go, working with folks like Jim as well, and folks on the ground, and of course, Dan Rivera, Head of Mass Development. So we're delighted to be down here as a team.
Dan and Ashley.
Oh my gosh. No, I wanted everybody else to make sure, we knew, and both the LG and I are big time supporters of HDIP. It's why we made the five-fold proposal in our budget, and we're going to continue to work with our legislative friends on that.
Welcome, Governor, Lieutenant Governor of Fall River. My name is Michael Lund. I want to thank you for coming down here. I had the unfortunate opportunity, probably 35 years ago, I came home from an internship from college with, and my father looked at me and said, we're not going to make it till spring. Quit college and I went to work for my father. And that's when I first met Kenny Fiola. Didn't even have $5 grand to get a piece of equipment, and he loaned it on a character loan 35 years ago. And today, we're one of the largest family-owned operating marinas in the entire East Coast. Never mind just Commonwealth of Mass. That's privately owned. That's not a corporate entity. And we're a hub with commercial property for 12 other businesses. We employ in the summer 100 people, and collectively our businesses that are in our properties, I think, employ about another 250, 300 people. That only happens with the cooperation of good government. Having made the mistake of running for office once myself, and then having the unfortunate thing to actually get elected and serving in our great city, I know how hard your job is. And I think if you can take anything, and I'm probably going to tell you something you've already figured out in a very short period of time, but I've been fortunate to serve with the chamber, and I serve on Office of Economic Development, but just how now I call my good friend Ken Fiola, with his leadership and fight for the consistency of getting some of these long-term projects actually coming to fruition. And what's important for you to know is to know that the team with himself and Mayor Coogan are beyond reproach, and you truly have people that bleed the red and black of Fall River. And if they say they're going to do something, and they advocate for a project, and they tell you what's important, it is made with the best of intentions of the citizens of this city. And having experienced the alternate, I cannot stress to you how important that is, A, as a taxpayer investment in the city, but to know where your future is going. And we are definitely a different animal than Boston, but give us a little credit in when we go to the state and we need your help. We don't need you to tell us what to do. We need your help on how to get it done. And because they're a testament, and I think what's happening now is a real example of that. And I would only leave you lastly, is I do believe we're experiencing a little bit of a renaissance. And the former administration recognized it, and I just want to know that it's still going in the right direction. You want to tell the world that this city is no longer a dark old mill town then you illuminate our bridge and let the people know when they drive into our city that we are lit up, that we are alive, and we are something different. And all the gentlemen and ladies in this room have all contributed to that. And I think that's a vital project to show the rest of the Commonwealth that we are something new and we are something that's on the up and coming.
Thank you.
But thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Thank you. And I'll have to come back another time for more beer. I really liked it.
This is Gary Walker. He is our SVP of Real Estate and Mass Development. And this is Alan Macumber too. And Alan,
Yeah, you're welcome.
Governor, Lieutenant Governor, I'm the Secretary. Thank you for coming to this building creative class. I'm actually a developer of Main Street projects. And Frank highlighted the HDIP program. The HDIP program was instrumental in getting this project going. And we also have an affordable component in this particular project. It's 20% affordable, 80% market rate. And I look at the math, and I see, I could get close to $300,000 to subsidize the affordable component. And then I got $30,000 to subsidize the market rate. And I get it that it looks like private developers are on the dole from the state, but it's certainly not the case because you just can't pencil projects otherwise. I have 2 other projects that I'd like to move forward with, but I'm kind of like slow dragging my heels waiting to see what happens with the HTIP program. The city of Fall River has come a long way. My partner Tony and I were the first or the second project in Fall River in the state of Massachusetts that actually used the HTIP program down at Commonwealth Landing. And back then we said, wow, this was amazing. Like, it made us put 100 apartments in Fall River market rate. And at the time, that was the first market rate project in Fall River in a generation. So now that was, what, 10 years ago? And it's such a huge success now, it's exploded in demand across the state. And I just look at a subsidy of $300,000 to put someone in a home for $30,000. To me, it's the cost benefit is tremendous. And with that, I'll pass my time to everyone else, and thank you for coming to create the class.
Hi, thank you. My name is Shannon Raposo. This is
James Primo.
good third. So Primo has been, I guess, my life partner since 17. We're not married, but we say we are. But we own Primo Hospitality Solutions. We are full food and alcohol catering. We also own Primo Bartending School. I've been in the field probably a little over 20 years. I convinced Primo, he was running the Bradley Hospital for a while, and I convinced him to take a break. He was burnt out, and he decided to bartend. So our goal is to just help out the hospitality field. There is a revolt happening, right? There's a lot of distance between management, ownership, and the back of the house. So when I was managing restaurants a while ago with Michael Lund and a few other people here that owned businesses locally, there was challenges with the back of the house, and right now hospitality restaurants are having huge problems holding staff. And so if that continues to happen, then there's not going to be any restaurants opening, which is not going to bring people into Fall River, right? People like to come in here to eat, right? And some people are going over the bridge to go to Providence. We want to keep them here. We want to keep them active and keep the area alive. So we're going to try to bridge that gap between management and employees, thinking of new ways to innovate, right? Different teachings and different mechanics and just everything that has to happen with the hospitality field. People can't work 16 hours a day behind in the back of the house without a break. There needs to be different advances. There needs to be different management strategies. So we're hoping this can inspire restaurants and businesses all over the place. And our teachings can be something that will start a revolution and kind of change the way people think so that people are more welcoming to join culinary. We have BCC in Fall River, and there's still a lack of employment. What's not working? What's not working is that real world experience. They're not staying because of nothing's progressing. Nothing's changing. So we work with Jobs for Progress, and what we're asking for is a little more support on that part. So I think if there are programs in place for people that are in high school or in college for culinary, we've actually partnered with BCC for their mixology, but any aspect of that part that can help people, introduce themselves into this career so they're not scared, they're not timid. It can be a bit of misfits at times and challenging. People are wearing many hats, many managements, pulling their hair out every day. There's a lot of things going on, but we just feel that, more, I guess, help on that part would be great. I know Jobs for Progress is sending us people all the time, and that's been working out well, but it's not a lot of people that are actually cooking. So that can help. You have anything to add?
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I'd like to thank all of y'all for coming down today and hearing what we have to say. Like Mike Lynn said, we have a great room in here, like people in this room. I sit on the redevelopment authority for Fall River, and I like to consider myself a Fall Riveran, although I'm originally from New Bedford. But when I came here at 15 years old, I seen the opportunity this city had, because I know there's voids in all areas that need to be filled. So when I left, went to the military, I came back. At 22 years old, I opened a barber shop that's still going today. I have 3 shops, 18 barbers, a couple hairstylists, 24 years going on with that business. Then we opened a healthy restaurant because there was another void in the city. The city needed healthy food, and that business has taken off. 7 years running successfully. And I think that, to piggyback off what she said, this city has a lot of opportunity, but we need to make sure we keep the people on this side of the bridge. We need to keep people going out and spending their money in the city and showing the surrounding areas how much of a beautiful city we have. We're on the water, we have a lot of opportunity, and it just takes some creative thinking for a lot of us to come together and help each other grow as businessmen and businesswomen and feed each other. Because in every successful city, you see, I'm an avid traveler, if anyone knows me, you see businesses feeding off each other. So what we need our partners to the left and right of us and across the street to all be successful so we can come up together. Because nobody's gonna go visit a location if it's the only place in that area. So if we have other businesses to feed off each other and help each other grow and create a good community like that, I think that sky's the limit.
Do you want to introduce your name, please?
Oh, I'm sorry, Louis Gonzalez.
And he also runs a couple juice bars as well with his wife.
So I know Jim from a while back, my guy right here.
Your turn.
Governor, Lieutenant Governor, Secretary, I forget your name, sir. But thank you for allowing me the opportunity to be here. My daughter sends a crush to you, Governor. You met her at Michael lunchtime, Melanie, so she's a big fan of yours, basketball player too. I am a product of Fall River all my life. I came to this beautiful city when I was 4. I was educated in the system, came back, and been buying property since I was 23, with the belief that everyone here has, that location, the work ethic that I knew, and time would prove us right, and I think we're right there. I think today you see the train actually rolling in. You see Route 79 coming down. I know Ken and I and the Office of Economic Development worked on the other project here in that boulevard. I see tremendous opportunity, and I'm already in the system. But what I love the most is I thought 15, 18 years ago when Alan and I bought the old Quaker Fabric headquarters that was in disarray. We put in $33 million back then. I thought we were nuts, Governor. I know I sat on a board, local bank, and they were not loaning money to a mill at that magnitude, but we made it happen. And HDIP was a huge factor. So I know everyone's talked about it. I know you, Lieutenant Governor. I think I read your column that said that you believe in that, you use it in your city, and I will tell you it's actually happening. So one of the things that I love the most is I have 5 projects teed up. I've done 5. It'll be my 5th historical tax structured business with HDIP conversions with the office and Ken, and the mayor's been truly honorable. I have 5 projects worth over $60 million, but none of it honestly will start without HDIP. It's just, Alan mentioned 30,000. He's a mathematician, I'm not. But 30,000 versus 300, I'm chasing market rate. I'm trying to blend market rate with what we have in housing. If you study the history, the city should hold 138,000 people. We're only at 94, but that's not what we're looking for. And today, if I can share with you from our management team, hall team, people that are moving into our city are empty nesters, young professionals from out of state, and people within the city that are coming back to the city and want the new amenities. So that will force the other housing to do one of 2 things, nothing and/or step up, so we all win. One of the biggest things that I see is, honestly, if I can be so blunt with you, is that we need to keep our talent in the city. Both my girls were educated, but I was lucky enough to have them come back. I don't know why, but they came back, and they worked for me. So 14 years ago, I thought I was going to retire in Naples. And then my girls decided to come join me. So now I'm reliving it for them. So I'm teeing up projects for them, but for also the benefit of the city. This is a beautiful city. We're not asking for any handouts. Mind you, when we ask for HDIP, it's not like you're going to grant us our HDIP. What you're doing is allowing us to be able to chase the HDIP and try to qualify our projects like everybody else in the Commonwealth. So I thank you for allowing, and the prior governors, lieutenant governors, for allowing my daughters to stay in the game. I'm now teaching them how to hunt fish, and I love it. So thank you.
No, we love that, and we love your daughters are here, and we are such strong proponents of HDIP. Again, that's why we proposed a 5-fold increase over current funding levels. We've got to do our work with the legislature, which I'm confident we can get there, but it may be helpful in time in the next couple of weeks to turn to some of you to help share the stories with mayors across the Commonwealth, because we just got to get that done, and we know how important it is. So thank you for that.
I mean, just on the technical side, like we put $50 million in our tax package, and it's not anywhere in the House's package. We're hoping it can stay in the Senate package, and then there might be an opportunity to, you know, have some back and forth. It's definitely, we don't need to be convinced.
Yeah.
We know it works, and we want to use it to build more housing. It's a key need we hear about everywhere.
And we appreciate the point about market rate, especially in places like Fall River. So know that we understand that. We also have, for the first time, a housing secretary, soon to be named, whose sole responsibility is to drive production across the state. So appreciate all the comments that you're making, big time. And I'm so glad you stayed.
I know, thank you so much.
You're too young to
Too young to retire.
Always old.
Keep it down, keep it down.
My boy, Frank.
My name's Becca Collins with Collins Construction. We're a local contractor in the city. I will not talk about HDIP, I promise. I'm a 4th generation contractor, first female to have the opportunity to even work in the business, never mind have the opportunity to run it. So I'm here because this community treated my family very, very well, so now it's our turn to pay it forward. We're working very hard on trying to train quality people so we can put up quality projects. Speaking of quality projects, my ask of you guys would be in reference to the MSBA. We fund, I believe, a cent of every dollar for our sales tax goes to it. I think even if we took a look at that, and granted, Fall River is almost done building schools, but you know the state of Massachusetts still has the opportunity. So if there's an opportunity to maybe grab another ½ cent in that sales tax to keep MSBA fully funded, that would be fantastic. We currently have a project in the queue for our vocational school, and we were funded under the last funding agreement of $360 a square foot. We would love the opportunity to be looked at for the $393. That would be probably about a $13 million opportunity that Diamond would have to turn that into capital for working students. So that would be my ask. And thank you very much for coming down. We do appreciate it.
Just real quick, we had the opportunity to speak earlier today, but just a couple more points here. First of all, the representation in this room today is very impressive, and you have true believers in the city representing millions of dollars in private investment and belief in the city. Just a couple of things that I forgot to mention earlier. I'll take this stuff until you do so. Sorry.
We already got the
Follow up to Mike Lund's question. There's actually, I think there's a bid opening. If it hasn't already occurred, it's about to occur with MassDOT out of sections 5, 6, with Taunton, I think it's 5, to finish off the lighting of the bridge. We have the bridge partially lit, but there is, the bid opening should be taking place if it has already.
We understood, that wasn't just a metaphor, we understood.
Yeah, so we'd like to, because that's really important to us, right, to really light that bridge up. And, you know, just secondly, I'd just like to thank, you know, you got the Primos here and Shannon, and they just bought a restaurant for $1.2 million. Okay, so they're putting their money where their mouth is because they believe in the city. And these are people that have been in the industry working, they're from the ground up, so they deserve a lot of credit for their belief in the city and trying to make it work. Thank you, and thank you all for your investment.
Hi, I'm Patrick Norton. I'm with the Narrows Art Center. We've been doing this for about 22 years in Fall River. And we've had a lot of success over the last 20 years of attracting people from outside of Fall River to our venue. Really, our success, we sell about 35,000 concert tickets a year, and 80% of the people who come to our venue come from outside a 20-mile radius. So we're on the waterfront of Fall River, not far from Michael Lund. We're kind of building a little synergy. I think my ask of you guys, and we've had some success recently with some arts-related tourism pieces, to see the state of Massachusetts really go out on a television commercial for tourism through southeastern Massachusetts. I've seen a lot of Massachusetts ads featuring Boston and Cape Cod. We could really use to go national with this stuff. I think it's really helpful to spotlight, even if it's from Williamstown through New Bedford through Fall River, right on that line. There's a lot of synergies between arts related and biotourism and a lot of things that are different from the big city in Cape Cod. And I think what Fall River really offers is a real affordable and authentic experience. And we need to kind of ferret that out a little bit more. And if anything you can do to help along those lines, I will say the Massachusetts Cultural Council is a fabulous organization. They've been super good to us, very merit-based, and I think that whatever you can do to help them would be great. But I do think Massachusetts is kind of missing a piece as far as promoting things. I know we're always beating up on Boston and Cape Cod, but they've got plenty of tourists. And I think Fall River offers an opportunity, Fall River and New Bedford together offers that spillover where people are looking to spend some extra time and they can spend it in Fall River. And some of the tourism studies that myself and Kenny and other people, and I think Frank were on it, we realize that in Fall River can't grow with just the people in Fall River supporting our businesses. The only way we grow more restaurants and continue to move the Route 79 project forward with restaurants is to attract people from outside of the area. And it doesn't have to be from New York City. It can be within a 45-mile radius.
Thank you.
So that's my little spiel on that.
We have 5 minutes left, so
Yeah,
we're
we
gonna
agree.
go through.
And we proposed, we really proposed funding for both the Mass Cultural Council, but also and the LG did this in Salem. We are big-time believers in arts, culture, tourism, and think that we could do a much better job in Massachusetts. It's an amazing place regionally. You go across the regions, and so much to commend the South Coast. So we want to work with you on that.
Once again, thank you all for inviting me. My name is George Palmer with FC Construction. We're a small subcontractor, hire 67 employees. We've been in Fall River for 40 years now. And if it wasn't for the city of Fall River, we wouldn't be here today with the supply of the workforce that we got from Fall River. I don't think we could have made it. And the only ask I have is, like the previous administration, keep District 5 busy with the construction projects down in the area. It would be very helpful. On that note, thank you.
I'm Mike O'Sullivan, One South Coast Chamber. We're the second largest chamber in the state of Massachusetts, not based on dollars, but based on members. We're larger than Boston in terms of numbers of members, actually. I can really second a lot of the things that everybody said at the table today. But what I really like what you just said is arts, culture, and tourism, because those are three areas that we've been working on tremendously over the last 4 years to really build those categories of business, because Fall River just needed, they needed to get rid of the silos and do a really good job in all of those particular areas. And we're working really hard through some ARPA dollars that the mayor put forth to really build the tourism. So we're really excited about that. And I'll leave the arts and culture stuff to Ashley, but we're working hard and we're really proud of everything here. And the last thing I'll say is that for the last 4 years, we have been the fiscal agent and sponsor for mass development and TDI, and we're really proud that a lot of the great stuff that happened, that is happening, sort of bubbled up from that.
Great. Thank you. Sarah?
Sarah Page from the Fall River Redevelopment Authority. And I'm going to talk about downtowns. We've been working with the TDI partnership in downtown Fall River, and we're now doing an urban renewal plan and revitalization plan for the Flint neighborhood, and it's helpfully funded with assistance from the HUB program through Mass Housing. And it's very clear that there aren't enough tools for us to use to really revitalize our downtown areas. And right after the pandemic, we were part of a statewide program that was a rapid rehousing program where, I'm sorry, I ran for
Rapid recovery.
yeah, rapid recovery program. And the rapid recovery program had us develop all kinds of goals. And there really aren't funds to go after to address those goals. For example, the state has a storefront program in the economic development area, but it's difficult and it's not greatly funded. And so I think that it would be great, I'm not going to go into lots of detail, I could, but there's a real need to look at the funding and tools for downtowns. Because when you go into the one-stop program, if you're going in the planning category, you can only, the city can only put in one proposal, the redevelopment authority can put in one, and we really want to put in 8. And, it's, so I would just hope that you will take a look at that, and I'd love to talk with you about it.
Thank you.
All right, I'll close this out, I guess. So Ashley Okino, I represent the FRAC, and what is the FRAC? It's the Fall River Arts and Culture Coalition. So we are actually a chamber, committee of the One South Coast Chamber, as Mike mentioned. So we drive economic development for the arts and culture. And so perhaps you saw some of the murals on the buildings as you came into the city. And so thank you, Mass Development. They have been a wonderful partner in helping us realize our vision. Our coalition is made up of over almost 200 folks from business to the creative sector. And I really am just here to represent all of them. And thank you, Mayor, as well. As we use arts to really, as we said, lighting the bridge, all of these elements that we've talked about all involve the creative sector. And so we drive it forward. And I thank you for your partnership with, of course, Mass Cultural Council.
It's great. Well, we really appreciate the opportunity to see some familiar faces, meet new folks as well, and to hear, most importantly, about what you need. We're down here because we care. We've been back several times. We'll continue to come back and be present in a bunch of different ways. I think it's, hearing, it's super exciting what is already happening here, and also the potential. And I think, we both were committed to this because we believed in our entire Commonwealth, particularly outside of Greater Boston. And I think that Fall River represents, the very best of the opportunities that's out there for the state. We're not going to get there unless we work together, public-private. Those of us in government working alongside all of you in industry and having us help be service partners to what you need to do right now. And I apologize. I'm going to have to go, but I cared a lot about this, that I am really, really late for a call with the White House, which I need to go. You gotta go. Please go. I didn't want to be rude.
Mike wants that more important than the White House media break.
That's why I stayed. That's why I stayed. It's not just as fair I like. It's why I stayed.
I heard them all.
So I'm going to do that, but you are the most able of hands, obviously, with our fantastic Lieutenant Governor who understands this better than anybody, and of course, Ashley and Dan. But this is awesome. And we'll
This was a
appreciate
great
it.
listening to it. Give me
I'm going to Okay, that was great. Thank you.
She said that at the last meeting, too. The real credit to us is that, we're really leaning into to Washington DC and the availability of funds, and the governor's taken a front seat in it, and we're lucky to have her there because she's got just superstar power and opportunities to bring more resources back here at a time when we probably haven't spent as much time in DC as we need to, in terms of making sure they're aware of our challenges and what we need to do. So really, it was a 2:30 call. So look, really grateful to be with all of you. I feel like an affinity to Fall River, not just because Paul and I were colleagues, but being the mayor of Salem for 17 years, a historic coastal community that's also a gateway city. Like, I know how hard the work is on the ground, and many of the same strategies that you're deploying here, we work to deploy as well, whether it was the creative economy, tourism and hospitality, revitalizing a downtown by having people actually live there, making sure that we were supporting folks on the ground and creating a culture that people want to invest in. And there's something special about momentum, and I really feel like Fall River has momentum, and that, for me, is something that we need to, really strengthen our partnerships any way we can. Momentum is contagious, and it creates more private investment, which creates more opportunities for jobs and growing a strong local economy. And we certainly want to be here to be, not just a partner, but like a co-conspirator. What are the things that you're doing before we have programs that might actually fit exactly what your needs are? And how can we break down those barriers? I know, like, we needed more liquor licenses. I could go on some of the things that might be, problematic that we want to try and work with you and better address. But just know, like, we're here for you. We want to make sure that the challenges that you are aware of are like shared challenges and shared opportunities to work on them together. So please,
I got to thank Kim also, because, I had a good relationship with the last administration.
As we all do.
Kenny and I worked on a lot of projects, but I called her, it's 8 o'clock and she doesn't answer the phone. I get a call by 8:30 and she'll text me, get back to you soon. I always get a response. She's definitely engaged in Fall River. She wants to know what's going on. And I think a listening tour like this to hear what the people are saying on the ground is very, very important. And Ashley's been a big help too. She's a holdover from the old administration, so I have to make fun of her because she'll get
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor.
She said goodbye 3 times. And I said, Ashley, we'll see you shortly. She goes, no. Today she appeared. I was all excited to see her again because she's also a good partner on the ground and she knows how things work. But again, I want to thank all the guys that offered up their time today to come out and talk. It's very important to get a diverse set of opinions about what's going on in the city from the people that are making it go. And I really appreciate you all offering up the time to talk to the governor and lieutenant governor today.
It's super helpful.
Yep.
Super helpful as we head back. Your voices and the people behind the work that we're doing are what drives us every day. So appreciate that. And keep up the great work. We really do want to partner in ways that can only amplify your efforts. So thanks.
Thanks everybody.
Can I throw out one more?